Let us pray. God of new beginnings, our hearts beat with gratitude and our minds race with excitement as we experience newness all around us. Even if we had 10,000 tongues, they would be insufficient to voice the full symphonic expression of our thoughts and feelings on this glorious day. In this sacred space, we pause before the daily pace really picks up on campus. We slow down and watch ourselves pass by. And as we watch, we see some who are shaking with ecstatic enthusiasm. We observe others who are quiet, nervous, and unsure. We see some scratching their heads, wondering how they were even accepted into Duke, while others are standing quite confident that Duke made the right decision to accept them. Some miss home, and others rejoice to finally be away from home. Whatever our state of mind and heart, may we experience strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. We receive today as a gift, knowing that tomorrow is no guarantee. We receive the beauty of this great towering church, this beloved sacred icon, as a foreshadowing of the beautiful journey ahead. Fill our days with the creative colors of stained glass windows, even as the southern thunderstorms may roll. Let buoyant music fill our lives and reverberate like cathedral organ pipes amid the global and local cacophony of violent refrains. Ignite our imaginations to rise to the heights of these vaulted ceilings, reaching beyond ourselves to find our true selves, even eclipsing the life we are living with the life that wants to live in and through us. As we sit in the wooden pews or touch the hallowed stones, may we remember the past with an eye toward the future, remembering that we did not arrive at this institution solely by our own will and resources, because someone paid for us, prayed for us, encouraged us, taught us, and mentored us to bring us to this great day. We give thanks for those who've made it possible for us to be here at dear old Duke. We acknowledge that we are not self-made, and we honor the great cloud of witnesses who surround us with love. Let love, not hate, be our guide, inside and outside the classroom, as we embark on this new educational journey, so that this Duke community would reveal the essence of your beloved community, and we would come to know that we are more alike than different. As we research, study, and serve, help us to leverage knowledge for the common good of the world, and by doing so, become more fully human and whole in the process. Let the joy and excitement of today, as students, staff, faculty, and administrators, lead us to a deeper sense of gratitude for every good gift, including this university and each other. May this group of graduate students be remembered not because they partied hard or were the most creative and innovative, but because they knew what it meant to learn, live, and love in community. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you, Dean Powery, for that inspiring invocation. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Duke University. As many of you may know, this is my first academic year as Duke's 10th president. In fact, this is only my second formal address at Duke, so I hope you'll go easy on me. I spent some time this summer brushing up on Duke history. It turns out that exactly 130 years ago, this institution, then known as Trinity College, had just hired another new president, John Franklin Crowell. Dr. Kroll casts a long shadow. He's best known around here for moving Trinity College to Durham. Less well known is the fact that he corrected our mistranslated college motto. And what's more, he served for 2 seasons as the football coach, including a Thanksgiving victory over UNC in 1888. Our current football coach, David Cutcliffe, may have made a mistake by giving me those keys to the stadium. Dr. Kroll's most important legacy at Duke might seem more prosaic, but it was profound. He shifted the institution away from an archaic classical curriculum to focus on the modern research techniques that were just beginning to gain traction in higher education. He believed that this university should, quote, leaven the popular consciousness, by which he meant that the work conducted here should serve the public by broadening our collective understanding of the world and helping us solve its most intractable problems. This was a somewhat radical vision for higher education in the late 1880s. At the time, going to college in the United States often meant a great deal of rote memorization of Greek and Latin. Well, we retain our interest in antiquity in the classical studies department, but Dr. Kroll's vision of research as public service and its stewardship by the Trinity and Duke faculty and staff through the intervening decades allowed a small provincial college, the one that he knew, to grow into a thriving world-class research institution with 10 graduate schools and over 70 graduate and professional degree programs. As incoming graduate and professional students, you represent the full diversity of thought that emerged from that vision. Although, to be sure, you will be conducting research into some areas that Dr. Kroll never could have imagined. For instance, the personality quirks of lemurs and what they can tell us about mammalian development, or how to build biomechanical scaffolding for vaccines and tissue generation, or making the connection between ozone pollution and cardiovascular health. Regardless of your field, the work that you do here will prove invaluable, and not just to the Duke community, but to the world at large. You're joining an institution that has produced Nobel Prize winners and Turing awardees, Pulitzer Prize winners, and MacArthur Fellows. And you have the opportunity to make your own mark on Duke's history, both on campus and after you've moved on. As I noted for our undergraduates earlier today, you will find, as recent events and issues surrounding this very chapel illustrate, that you are not isolated from the cares, needs, demands, and controversies of our nation and world. Instead, you are called upon to engage in deliberative and sometimes very difficult conversations about history, about our present, and most important, about the course of our futures together. As graduate students, you have the intellectual maturity to explore perspectives that challenge you, recognizing that your own understanding is leavened and enriched in the process. This is rigorous and challenging work. Most of you enter Duke with well-formed ideas about your chosen field, but the academic community here is designed to give you the freedom and the support to allow for a much wider exploration. While you are here, I hope you'll take advantage of the opportunity to get to know and understand your fellow students, regardless of their areas of expertise. Take full advantage of our world-class faculty and the resources that Duke offers to you and to your families. I also encourage you to take some time away from the lab and the classroom to try new restaurants in Durham, wander through the Nasher Museum, or take in a show at DPAC. This campus and our surrounding community have so very much to offer. Don't let your work keep you from enjoying the full richness of life here. And we should not be so focused on our own work that we forget that we are together members of this community. We should look for opportunities to draw from it and to give back to it. Well, you are now officially Blue Devils. And wherever your life and your work take you, I hope you find strength in the company and the support of thousands of other Duke graduates who had their curiosity sparked, their intellects challenged, and their convictions formed and affirmed on this beautiful campus. Good luck as you embark on your graduate and professional studies, and welcome to Duke. I will now introduce our university leaders and deans in the order in which their schools were established. And I ask that they stand and be recognized as I call their names. And I ask that you hold your applause, please, until I am finished. I am pleased to introduce Duke's Provost and Chief Academic Officer, Sally Kornbluth. Before being named Provost, Dr. Kornbluth was the Vice Dean for Basic Science at Duke School of Medicine. She joined the Duke faculty in 1994 and is the James B. Duke Professor in the Department of Pharmacology and Cancer Biology. David Levy, Dean of the School of Law, came to Duke in 2007. Prior to his appointment, he was Chief United States District Judge for the Eastern District of California. A native of Chicago, he is an expert on legal reform and civil procedure and teaches courses in judicial behavior and ethics. Elaine Heath is Dean of the Divinity School and Professor of Missional and Pastoral Theology. Dean Heath joined us from the Perkins School of Theology at Southern Methodist University. She is a leading scholar of emergence, and her scholarly work integrates systematic, pastoral, and spiritual theology in ways that bridge the gap between the academy, the church, and the world. A special welcome to our newest dean, Dr. Mary Klotman of the School of Medicine. A renowned HIV researcher, Dr. Klotman also serves as the R.J. Reynolds Professor of Medicine and as a member of the Duke Human Vaccine Institute. A true Blue Devil, she attended Duke for her undergraduate studies and completed her medical degree and residency and fellowship at Duke Hospital. Marion Broom is Dean of the Duke School of Nursing, the #1 ranked school of nursing in the United States. A national leader in pediatric nursing and a scholar of research ethics, Dean Broom is Ruby Wilson Professor of Nursing. She came to Duke in 2014 from the Indiana University School of Nursing, where she had been dean for 10 years. Jeffrey Vincent serves as Dean of the Nicholas School of the Environment. An expert on natural resource management and developing economies, Dean Vincent came to Duke in 2007 from the University of California, San Diego. In addition to leading the Nicholas School, he serves as Clarence F. Korstian Professor of Forest Economics and Management. Dean Ravi Bellamkonda is the Vinnick Dean of the Pratt School of Engineering. Dean Bellamkonda was previously chair of the Coulter Department of Biomechanical Engineering, a collaborative program between Emory University and Georgia Tech. He is a renowned biomedical engineer whose research explores the interaction between biomaterials and the nervous system, with applications in nerve repair and brain tumor therapy. Representing the Fuqua School of Business is Mohan Venkatachalam. He is Senior Associate Dean and R.J. Reynolds Professor of Business Administration. Dr. Venkatachalam is an expert in corporate accounting practices and managerial communication and came to Duke from Stanford. Kelly Brownell is Dean of the Sanford School of Public Policy. Dean Brownell came to Duke in 2013 from Yale. He has advised the White House, governors, and World Health Organizations and nutrition organizations on issues surrounding nutrition, obesity, and public policy, and was named one of the world's 100 most influential people by Time magazine in 2006. Larry Moneta serves as Vice President for Student Affairs at Duke. He joined Duke in 2001 after nearly 10 years at the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Moneta has responsibility for programs that support undergraduate, graduate, and professional students, including housing, healthcare, career services, and student activities. Rashmi Jolekar is the current president of the Graduate and Professional Student Council. Rashmi is a PhD candidate at the Nicholas School of the Environment, where her research is focused on toxicology and environmental health. She previously served as vice president of the GSPC. Please join me in applauding these university leaders. It is now my pleasure to call on Dean Paula McClain to introduce our speaker. Paula D. McClain, a professor of political science, became the Dean of the Graduate School and Vice Provost for Graduate Education in 2012. Dean McClain earned her bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in political science from Howard University and came to Duke in 2000. She is a distinguished scholar of political science, focusing on racial minority group politics and urban politics with a joint appointment in the Sanford School of Public Policy. A member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, she also directs the Ralph Bunche Summer Institute, an intensive 5-week program at Duke that trains minority students from across the country to pursue doctoral degrees and careers in political science. Please join me in welcoming the Dean of the Graduate School, Paula McClain.
Good afternoon. Before I start, the Alumni Association has asked me to let you know that the reception has been moved from outside to the Gothic reading room so that they wouldn't get caught in the rain. Okay, so go from here to the Gothic reading room. One of the pleasures of being Dean of the Graduate School is to be able to invite the speaker for the opening convocation, as it provides an opportunity for you to see and hear some of Duke's incredible faculty. This year, I have the pleasure to introduce you to David F. Levy, the Dean of the Law School, and he is the senior dean among our group of 10 deans. Dean Levy was writing his dissertation in history at Harvard when in 1977 he decided to go to law school at Stanford. I guess writing a dissertation about law reform in 19th century England had lost its luster, and he wanted his study of law to be more current. He graduated Order of the Coif in 1980 from Stanford Law School, where he was also president of the Stanford Law Review. He became dean in 2007 and joined us from his position as chief of the United States District Court, the Eastern District of California in Sacramento, where he had also served on that court before being elevated to chief judge, and he also served as an assistant United States attorney for the same district. Out of law school, he clerked for the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Ben C. Dinaway, and then went on to clerk for Supreme Court Justice Lewis F. Powell. He was elected a Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 2007. As Senior Dean, it is Dean Levy's responsibility to keep the rest of us rowdy deans in line, and he does it very, very well with a stern hand and a great deal of humor. I give to you Dean David F. Levy.
Thank you, Dean McLean. How kind of you. And what an honor for me to stand before you in my final 11th year as the Dean of Duke Law School. And what a privilege to welcome President Price to the community of graduate and professional scholars and students at Duke. In honor of President Price, I take a topic today that I hope will resonate with him and with his scholarly work in communications. My topic is speaking, listening, and the rule of law. When all is said and done, speaking and listening are what we do in a university. In one way or another, whether digitally, face-to-face, in real time, or across the centuries in our written work, we speak and we listen. We do this in the classroom, in the lab, in the field, and in the library. For all of this speaking and listening, we spend comparatively little time considering how well we do these two things, fundamental to our training, our efficacy, and our community. My great Aunt Louise said that she only needed 2 books because by the time she had read one, she had forgotten the other. The same has been true with me when it comes to jokes. I only have 2, and I will tell you one of them that seems to fit this occasion. Sometimes humor opens up our hearts and minds to serious reflection. A religious young man joined a Cistercian monastery located in the countryside. The abbot informed him that every 10 years he would be permitted to speak 2 words and 2 words only. Otherwise, he must strictly observe a vow of silence. The young monk nodded his agreement. 10 years later, he was brought to the abbot on his anniversary. The abbot said, "You've been here for 10 years, working and praying. Do you have 2 words?" The monk replied, "Hard bed." The monk then left and returned to his chores. 10 years later, no longer so young, he returned to the abbot. The abbot congratulated him on his anniversary and invited him to speak. Bad food. Again, 10 years passed. The monk appeared. The now elderly abbot greeted him. "What do you have to say?" The monk replied, "I quit." "Well," said the abbot, "I'm not at all surprised. All of you have done since you got here is complain." There is one takeaway from this joke for my purposes here today. A university is not and should not be a Cistercian monastery. I suspect that you knew that already. Although the monk chose his 2 words quite well, it is hard to convey much information, enlightenment, or even offense with just 2 words every 10 years. By contrast, a university is a very noisy place, and by design, much as we might like to limit some of our colleagues to 2 words, we never do. We revel in and celebrate the cacophony of many voices and the collision of ideas and beliefs. There are few or no intervals of repose. Where we all agree, there is little to say. This is one principal reason why we so value diversity in a university, because we want the debate, the collision of ideas, the friction that can be so productive. This is how we add to the sum of human understanding. This faith in free expression, what we call academic freedom, is paralleled in our time by the development of the classical liberal case for free speech under the First Amendment of the Constitution. The development of First Amendment protections during and following the World Wars, and now into our own time, is one of the great jurisprudential achievements of the courts in the last 100 years. It is a central part of what we mean by the rule of law. The liberal case began after the First World War in Justice Holmes' opinions, particularly his famous dissent in 1919 in Abrams versus United States. Abrams had been prosecuted under the Espionage Act for opposing U.S. military action. Justice Holmes set out the theory of free speech that is still widely accepted today. He said that when we realize that time has upset many fighting faiths, we come to the realization, we come to see that the ultimate good desired is better reached by free trade in ideas, that the best test of truth is the power of the thought to get itself accepted in the competition of the market. And then he warned, we should be eternally vigilant against attempts to check the expression of opinions that we loathe. Holmes did not say that all ideas are equally good, but that more and better speech, not censorship, is the proper way to separate the true from the false and the good from the bad. Following Justice Holmes, the courts have steadily expanded the depth and breadth of the conception of freedom of speech. In 1943, in West Virginia versus Barnett, reversing an earlier decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of children who, on religious grounds, refused to salute the flag or say the Pledge of Allegiance. Justice Jackson wrote that if there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion. And the same is true in a university, of course. None of the high and petty university officials you see before you arrayed up here want or should ever prescribe orthodoxy. And this is one very good reason why universities so rarely speak in an institutional voice on the issues of our time, as if there were only one point of view within the university itself. In more recent times, we see the courts acting to protect speakers who address matters of public concern in a variety of settings. In case after case, the Supreme Court has extended the principles of the Holmes dissent. These cases are highly relevant to what is happening today on our streets and in our universities. This is not our first rodeo. In 1977, when the Nazi Party of America sought a permit to march in the city of Skokie, Illinois, a place where many Jewish families and Holocaust survivors had settled, the court ruled that the permit must be issued. This is why some 30 years later, white supremacists and anti-Semites are permitted to march again in Charlottesville and elsewhere. I would note, however, that threatening and intimidating conduct are not protected speech, but bad behavior that can be prohibited and prosecuted. In 2011, in Snyder versus Phelps, the court protected a religious group whose form of protest is to show up with deeply offensive signs at the funerals of soldiers killed in the line of duty in our wars in the Middle East. Acknowledging the pain caused by this speech to the families and the mourners, the Chief Justice wrote, "We cannot react to that pain by punishing the speaker. As a nation, we have chosen a different course, to protect even hurtful speech on public issues to ensure that we do not stifle public debate." This is what the rule of law looks like when it comes to speech. It is an approach that has worked reasonably well for nearly 100 years in some very tough times. Those who would abandon the classical liberal formulation should have very good reasons for doing so. Yet one senses that the universities may be weakening in their commitment to academic freedom and the First Amendment without such very good reasons. We see the basic premises of academic freedom under attack in so many places and across the spectrum. One university disciplines a faculty member for criticizing the National Rifle Association, while another disciplines students for criticizing affirmative action. Invited speakers are intimidated or shouted down. Surveys suggest that many undergraduates, perhaps even a majority, subscribe to the view that offensive speech by students and faculty should be punished, particularly if the subject matter is race, gender, sexuality, or other areas of controversy and concern within the society. These events of the past few years show the dangers when universities begin to censor and punish based on content. Therein lies the path to coercion, homogeneity, timidity, and mediocrity. I think that we are up to the challenges posed by the diversity of views we otherwise cherish and welcome. Let us commit that everyone on this campus can say their 2 words, their 2 cents. Here we will protect academic freedom and free speech, even knowing that some will abuse that freedom. However, the burden of that abuse should not be borne alone by vulnerable racial, religious, or other groups. All too often, they are the ones who suffer from bigoted and hateful speech. So let us also commit that we will speak up to defend those who bear the unequal burdens of offensive speech. We will use our own good speech to oppose and dispel bad speech. If we do this well, we will look back on this period with pride. We will have secured the blessings of liberty on our own campus. We cannot be a great university otherwise. There is so much more to say about free speech and the rule of law, but I have gone well past my 2 words, and I've not said anything yet about listening, perhaps the most important skill of a serious scholar and a good person. In this beautiful chapel, made for listening and contemplation, we should end on a hopeful note. All is not about argument and strife. There is also the magic and the mystery, if we can only remember to listen for it. As the great writer of the environmental movement, Aldo Leopold, expressed it, there is music in the hills, by no means audible to all. To hear even a few notes of it, you must first live here for a long time, and you must know the speech of hills and rivers. Then, on a still night, sit quietly and listen for a wolf to howl, and think hard of everything you have seen and tried to understand. Then you may hear it, a vast, pulsing harmony, its score inscribed on 1,000 hills, its notes, the lives and deaths of plants and animals, its rhythms spanning the seconds and the centuries. There is also a vast, pulsing harmony in a university, its score inscribed on 1,000 minds and hearts, its notes, the lives and deaths, the speaking and the listening of legions of teachers and students, its rhythms spanning the seconds and the centuries, its richness, the diversity of voices and themes, its tempo driven by the shared yearning for truth and for beauty. Can you hear it? I can. It's coming from you. May it always be so. Thank you. Joseph Tan will now perform for us the Duke alma mater. Joseph is a junior from Singapore with a major in psychology and is a member of the Duke Chorale. Joseph.
As you near the conclusion of your first official gathering as graduate and professional school students of Duke University, I ask you to join me in a time-honored tradition, the singing of the alma mater. Dear O Duke, as it is now popularly known, was composed by Robert Henry James, a member of the Trinity College class of 1924. He said he was inspired to write a song that would show his gratitude and devotion to his university. I hope that the words of the alma mater will ring true for you, not only during your years at Duke, but throughout your lives, and that your time at this place will inspire you ever to turn, indeed, to dear old Duke. I will sing the alma mater through once, and then I invite you to join me in singing it. Please stand and remain standing throughout the closing procession. Welcome to Duke. Dear old Duke, thy name will sing. To thee our voices will raise. To thee our anthems ring. In everlasting praise. And though on life's broad seas our fates may far us bear, we'll ever turn to thee, our alma mater dear.